Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brittany, and in today's video I wanted to do a comparison slash first impressions. I had no intentions of filming this today until I opened up the door and this was waiting for me. So you can probably tell by the packaging that this is a package from Tarte, and we're going to be talking about the new Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. Probably the most hyped up foundation right now. So I picked up the hydrating formula and the matte formula in light medium sand and light medium neutral. So what I'm going to be doing today is applying the hydrating on half of my face and the matte on the other half, showing you guys how it applies on my combination skin. I have an oily T-zone and a drier outer area of my face. So I figured, let's try these both out, see how they perform, see which one I like better, and you guys could probably get an idea of which one you might be gravitated towards. So right now I do believe these are only available on the Tarte Cosmetics website. I do see them on the Ulta website, but it says coming soon, so keep an eye on that. Unfortunately, I do start my night schedule tonight, so I'm not able to do a wear test today, but if you guys are curious to see a wear test on this, just give this video a thumbs up or leave it in the comments. Also, if you have tried this foundation, leave it in the comments down below what you guys think of it as well, and your skin type. So that's what we're going to cover today, is a comparison slash first impressions on the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. Let's just jump right in and let's do this! Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the makeup sponge. I picked up the Tarte The Shaper Contouring Sponge. I always use sponges to apply my foundation, so that's why I figured I'd pick this up. So it does come in a nice little packaging, and this is what the sponge is going to look like. This is completely dry. This is right out of the package, so I will be going to wet this sponge because I always apply with a damp sponge. I will go wet this and show you guys a close-up if it does double in size, because hopefully it does. But first impression of this, it does remind me a lot of the Fenty sponge, except this sponge does have flat sides on both sides, whereas the Fenty one, it comes, like this side is the exact same and then it is more rounded on this side. So they are definitely different. This one is $18. I believe the Fenty one is $16, so this is a little bit more pricey, but it's still cheaper than the Beauty Blender. So let me run upstairs real quick, wet the sponge, and then I will show you guys how it looks after I wet it. Alright, so I did just dampen my sponge, and you guys will definitely see that this does indeed double in size. Like, this is probably the most expanding sponge that I have ever used, so this already is a good first impression for me. I like the way that it feels. It is very squishy. I do really like the size of it. I think this is going to be really nice for getting in the under eye. So first impression of this so far, I am really liking it. I'll be curious to see how it performs with this and other foundations, but just by the texture of it, I'm really liking how it feels. It kind of reminds me of like the L'Oreal Blend Artist Sponge and the Fenty Beauty. It's like a cross between that. I think the shape of it is a lot like the Fenty Beauty sponge, but then the density and everything like that, it reminds me a lot of that L'Oreal Blend Artist Sponge. So already really excited for this. I love the marble effect on it as well. I think that's super cute. So really quick, I'm going to prime my face and then we'll jump right into the comparison between the foundations. Okay, so now that we have the face primed, I just used the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Luminizer Primer. I've been loving this ever since I got my BoxyCharm. But now let's get into the foundation. So these are what both of the packaging looks like here. This is going to be the hydrating with the blue, and then the matte is going to be the purple. As you can see, they are very reminiscent of the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and I will also show you the applicator is also the same. This is not a pump foundation. It has that giant doe foot applicator, just like the concealer. So some people may like that. I personally enjoy that because I don't have to put it on my hand and then forget to wipe it off. So that's why I do like these, and it's only me that's going to be using it, so that doesn't bother me at all. Now that we covered the packaging, let's get into the most controversial thing with this foundation, which you are going to hear in probably everybody's videos. The shade range absolutely is terrible. There's 15 shades. They have a lot of like light to medium skin tones, but not so many deep skin tones. I would encourage you guys to watch Jackie Ina's video on this. Her and Alyssa Ashley did a Black Girls review the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation, so automatically right there you could probably assume that it's not going to be very accommodating towards darker complexion. So I am not in that complexion, so it does not affect me directly, but I know it affects a lot of people in the beauty community. And a brand like Tarte Cosmetics, with such a high caliber brand, I feel like they of all brands should be coming out with 40 plus shade ranges for their foundations. Especially like Tarte Shape Tape was probably everybody except for mine's favorite concealer, so you can only imagine that it's going to be an extremely sought after foundation. So Tarte, I would just suggest you need to do better. Like, yes, they are coming out supposedly with more shade ranges. I believe they did the same thing with the Shape Tape Concealer. They started with a smaller range and then expanded once they noticed that it was a really sought after product. But I feel like as a brand, and being such a well-known brand, you need to come out right out of the gate with that wide shade range. I feel like that's only what's fair to your consumers. So that's my opinions on that. I feel like Tarte, you need to do better, but let's just move on and not harp on the fact that their shade range sucks with this. So that's all I'm going to say about the shade ranges on both of these foundations. And now the first one that I'll start with is the Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation. So what it does is it's hypoallergenic luminous finish gel foundation featuring the same iconic buildable full coverage as the Shape Tape concealer with an added boost of skin smoothing oil-free hydration. It says it provides the same rich creamy full coverage as the Shape Tape concealer in a skin smoothing weightless gel. The collagen and hyaluronic acid packed formula concentrate continuously hydrates by helping to plump skin and refine pores without creasing, caking, or fading for 12 hours. So that sounds like all about my life right there, so I am very curious to see if that happens. Let's just go in and apply this shit. I have never tried this before, just so you guys are aware, so I'm going to just dot this all over my skin like I typically would with a foundation like this. And I'm not sure if it'll be up before this video, but I did just do the Physicians Formula Healthy Skin Foundation wear test review, so that will be coming soon to my channel if it's not already on here. So let's just go in. I'm already really liking this sponge. Hopefully this mirror doesn't drive you guys batshit crazy. Let's try to put it down here. So this is going to be in the shade Light Medium Sand. This is actually looking like a pretty good match for me. I don't think this is going to match the other side of my face because each shade range, like the matte versus hydration, they don't have the same exact shade names. So I don't know if they're going to match. I just kind of guessed and picked which one seemed like it would fit my skin. But this one's out really nice. It is giving me more of a luminous finish, which I totally expected, but for this time of year, I actually really like that because my skin is a little bit drier. So let's go in. That was just like little dots all over my face, so let's go in on this side of my forehead. I don't want to add too much just because I know that the Shape Tape concealer is extremely pigmented, so we're not going to add too much. So let's just blend this out. Same sponge. It has just like a foundation smell. It doesn't have like anything terrible smelling. Go over my eye, half the forehead. Whenever I do these, I always end up going on the other side of my face like an idiot. So you could definitely see that this is a very like full coverage, I would say, like at least like heavy medium to full coverage. Let's go over some areas that I would typically like more foundation. Like this area right here is typically where I like more. So let's just go in and put a little bit more just in this area right here. A little bit more on the forehead. Let's see if it's buildable. Yeah, like the texture of the sponge really reminds me of the L'Oreal Blend Artist sponge. That's exactly what it feels like on my skin. So this is definitely a buildable formula. I don't think this is full coverage though. Like I think it's like medium to full coverage, but buildable to full coverage. I was expecting it to be more full coverage just because of how pigmented the Tarte Shape Tape concealer is. But it's definitely buildable to full coverage. I think this is a really nice looking foundation so far. Because like you can see, I do have luminosity to the skin. Like my skin looks healthy and I feel like it honestly does look skin-like. And then this is always my problem area, right underneath my schnoz. Alright, so already I can tell you guys I do really like this sponge. It applies really nicely. It really shears out the foundation. This does not look heavy, cakey, anything like that. If anything, I feel like it looks really skin-like because a little bit of my redness still peeks through a little bit here. Like I would still probably add a little bit more in this area right here. But I feel like this side looks really natural and really healthy. So this is not at all what I was expecting for a Shape Tape foundation. So ultimately right now I'm really impressed with how this side looks. So let's go in on the other side with the matte foundation. So with the matte foundation, it is a vegan and oil-free full coverage foundation with a creamy texture and modern matte finish to complement our cult favorite concealers. Looks like it smooths over pores and imperfections with rich airbrush full coverage that dries to a flawless matte finish using a unique concealer-inspired wand. A formula absorbing oil and shine while leaving skin creaseless, hydrated, free of flakiness or cakiness, and help to improve skin health with every application. So as we expected, this is going to be a more matte coverage. So let's go in on this side. So this is going to be the shade Light Medium Neutral. And I'm just going to apply it the exact same way as I did on the other side. So this side is going to be a little bit more warm compared to the hydration side, but you guys can definitely see, I think this one is a little bit more full coverage than the hydrating one. And I am really liking this sponge for both formulas for this foundation. Shit, this might be a new favorite sponge. So this is going to be one full layer with the matte coverage, and then this will be the hydration, looking straight ahead. You can definitely see this side is more matte, and this side definitely has the more luminosity to it. So let's go in with a second layer just in this area right here, because this is where I typically like more coverage. Little on the forehead, same thing as I did on the other side. I still don't feel like these are like super full coverage. Like these aren't like Kat Von D, like Lock-It foundation full coverage. They're like, I don't know, they're like medium to full coverage, I think. I don't know, just by like the reputation that the Shape Tape has, I was expecting like Kat Von D all over again. Alright, so that is definitely buildable. Looks really nice on the skin. I like this area a lot better with the second layer on there. So looking at each side, I do think that this side is a little bit more full coverage than this side, because I would still go in and add a little bit more right in here. But these are both very, very buildable. Like, I really think I'm going to like this foundation. I'm really curious to see how it wears throughout the day. But I do feel like I'm going to like it a lot. And I will say too, like, I have this on my under eye area. With the Shape Tape Concealer, this makes my skin look like 100 years old. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. This makes my skin look a lot more healthy and a lot more natural. And it doesn't emphasize my lines like the Shape Tape Concealer does. So right off the bat, I'm already a lot more impressed with this formula opposed to the concealer. Watch it be like the same fucking thing. I'm really liking the sponge though. I think it blends out the product really nicely. I'll be curious to see how it works with other foundations. But you guys could definitely see like matte, luminous. So that right there is going to be a big determination on which one that you like. I know a wear test will be a lot more helpful for you guys. So again, if you guys want to see that, let me know. But I feel like this looks really nice on the skin. I was expecting it to look really heavy and really cakey and emphasize my line. I feel like this side with the hydration makes me look a lot more youthful, but I think that this side is going to be more practical for me because I do get oily throughout the day. So, I don't know, I feel like mixing these will definitely be good, but you guys could see, it says it's creaseless. That's bullshit because you can already see it's creasing on my lids. Which is normal, like, it's totally normal for me. That doesn't bother me. I just make sure I blend it out before. But you are going to want to set both sides of your face with either one of these foundations. That's why these are really helpful, because people always say that they don't need to set the concealer. I have to. Like, it always falls in my lines. But I think this looks really nice on the skin. Like, if you looked at me straight ahead, which side would you like better? Like, I personally like how this side looks better, but I feel like throughout the day, this side is going to be better for me. If anything, I feel like I want to put the matte on the inner part of my face and then the hydrating on the outer, because I think this side looks really nice, but I like how this side looks more healthy and luminous. So I would definitely like to mix both of them. But I think it looks really, really nice. Like, I was expecting it to be super full coverage, look like I'm 100 years old and all that shit, but it doesn't do that at all to my skin. And I also really like how it doesn't sit on top of my skin. Like, there's some foundations, it's just like they sit on top. It's like a layer just on top. These actually look like they like melt into your skin. So they're really, really nice. I'm actually really impressed with these so far. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my makeup. I'm going to apply everything as I normally would, use the same products as I normally would, and then I will pop back on here and let you guys know how they performed on my skin on top of these foundations. But first impression of it already, I am really, really liking both of them. Alright, so this is going to be my makeup completely done, and I am so feeling these like Valentine's Day looks right now. It ain't even funny. But we're going to go into my final first impressions review, and I'm just going to start off with which one that I liked better. So mind you, this side is my hydration side, this side is the matte side, and by looking at them, which one do you guys think looks better? Me personally, I prefer the hydration foundation. I feel like my skin looks a lot more youthful. I think it looks more natural. I just think it looks healthy. It gives me like the perfect amount of luminosity, but not too much for having combination skin. I can tend to get oily, so I'll be curious to see how this wears throughout the day. But I feel like right now, my skin looks really nice. It looks natural, whereas on the matte side, I feel like it makes my skin look a little bit older and emphasizes my texture a little bit more, because in this area right here especially, I do have a lot more texture. Like you can see right here, you can really see that texture, whereas on this side you can't see any texture. Where I do like the matte one more though is in this area right here. I feel like this area looks a lot more poreless than this side, but all in all, I prefer much more this side. I just think the powders went on more natural. They don't look as harsh as this side. Like, when I was contouring, I was just like, ooh, like it almost like clings, like everything clings to this foundation. And then in this area right down here, you could really see like right where I cut the line for where I did the matte and then the hydration, all along the matte side, it's all cakey. So I do think that this is going to cling to dry patches. I do think that this is going to be very cakey if you apply too much, especially. Like, I don't think I apply too much, but I feel like both are very buildable. It's just a matter of your skin type. Being that I have combination, I feel like I could get away with both, because the longer that I wear them, the more oils that will pull through. Like, I feel like this will be like a more like 4 to 5 hour foundation possibly, and then this one will be my long wearing. But I would really be curious to mix both of these, because there's certain things that I like about both. Like, I really like this one more. I think everything just looks a lot more youthful and nice, whereas with this one, it does make me look more poreless. So I'd be almost curious to put the matte right in this area only, and then the hydration all over the face. So I am happy to have both of these. I think both of these do look really nice on the skin. They don't sit on top of the skin, and I just think it's really going to depend on your skin type, honestly. So with all that being said, those are going to be my first impressions of the new Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. Do I think it's worth a shot? Absolutely. I feel like it's a pretty good price for a higher end foundation. It's $39. You get 1 fluid ounce, so it's a standard size. Like, I feel like $39 for a foundation you find in Sephora, that is a good price. So I feel like the pricing is fair. You get a good amount of product. I think with the applicator, you don't use as much, so I do really like that. So that is going to be my initial first impressions. I definitely think it's worth it. I would definitely say if you have combination skin, maybe get both. If you have drier skin, get the hydration. If you have oilier skin, get the matte. That's just me going by my first impressions of this. So again, if you guys do want to see a wear test on either or both of these, please leave it in the comments down below, or just give this video a thumbs up. That will suffice for me. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for future videos, wear tests, all that sort of shit on my channel. If you guys do like my channel, make sure you guys subscribe before you guys leave. Follow me on my Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook. Everything is always in the description box, along with all the products that I talk about in my videos. So if you ever have any questions, check down there first. And that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys in my next one. Peace!